Hey there, Heather Ho. There's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome me to yet another Degrassi video about kind of an unpopular opinion slash hot take, if you will. Now, this might not be an unpopular opinion to a lot of people. This might just be like what you're thinking of. But anyway, I was just thinking at times, and all I remember thinking is that somebody, I can't remember who, posted in the Degrassi Reddit threads a while ago. For context, when I did this thing was 8 days ago, and this is May 24th, 2025. But I remember somebody saying that the whole thing with Liberty is that it was wrong and they were just treating her poorly, and the writers just didn't give her the time of day. And I'm like, yeah, the writers ruined her, but there was also more. So this is what I wrote in detail. So I said Liberty wasn't just failed by the writers in season 5; she was failed by her parents. And I want to explain. Yes, we all should know that in season 5, Liberty's pregnancy was made an afterthought thanks to the writers making her look bad, with not telling anyone about the baby till I think 5, 6 months down the line. This actually was a bad move because she could have jeopardized either the baby's health or herself. It made JT the central character in the storyline. Although I said that, to be fair, them telling us how JT was trying to sacrifice for the kid by trying to get his grandmother's help, and him taking a high paying job till Jay had to ruin it and get him on the drug trade was critical. And hell, making the birth of Liberty's baby a bleep and B storyline and having no input slash help from Manny and Emma made her look bad. Emma and Manny had their own drama to deal with, but it could have been nice to have them involved. But what people are not getting is the role of Liberty's parents themselves. The way they put Liberty and Danny under the microscope, or a pedestal, if you will, and focusing on the model students. Liberty wanted to be seen as a normal person and not a loser go getter. Not my words. Once the baby is born, they get Liberty to sign an adoption deal that doesn't help her in the long run, as the adopted parents want to move to Seattle without Liberty's input, and her dad said that tough luck, you signed the deal and you have to live with it. This leads her to do bad on an exam, having signs of postpartum, but yet again, her parents don't give a you know what and say nothing is important than your academics, and don't even check in on their daughter, thinking she might be depressed over losing her kid. I mean, that's understandable. And I wrote in quotations, I mean, in parentheses or brackets. I think the mother either had no postpartum issues or just basically hit them under the rug. She has issues that her parents don't seem to care about, and Derek, in one of his less douchey moments, suggests a memory test and things get to be clear. Although her depression may have stretched into season 6, seeing JT bond with Mia and Izzy, and wondering what if. I'm wondering what if. Yes, her actions were of jealousy and spite, but in the end, JT did want to be with her, but died before confessing his issues. Nikki Fox says, you hit the nail on the head. Liberty being relegated to a side character, even when it made more sense to be a main character, was a terrible idea. 35 Miller said, I agree with you on all counts. More of Associations has agreed on all points. Lucas O'Halling said, quote, Liberty got her episode, which, yeah, it was fucked up that the parents moved to another fucking country after agreeing to an open adoption. His words, not mine. But having the majority of the story focus on JT was actually nice, in my opinion. Pregnancy storylines always focus on the female, but you can't make a baby without the dad who has his own issues going on, too. When I look at that, I'm thinking to myself, he does have a point. I mean, yeah, it was actually nice because, about the father and all that. I mean, Degrassi and pregnancy didn't really focus on the men as much behind the baby, if you will. But, like, the whole Snake and Shane, sorry, the Spike and Shane storyline from season 1 of Degrassi Junior High and moving onwards. That was huge. Like, we got to hear about what Shane was facing. His parents wanted to ship him off to boarding school so that he doesn't have to deal with Spike or Emma ever again. Shane snaps and says, basically, you're doing it for yourself because you're so ashamed of me that you can't go out and do stuff. I mean, his father was an Anglican minister, and how the clergy sometimes thinks of things. But the fact of the matter is that, yeah, we got to peer in how Shane's parents just want um, Spike to give up the baby. And so we don't have to deal with it. Shane decides to give half his allowance to Spike to help baby Emma out. And when Emma's babysitter had to go to a family thing and left Emma in Spike's care, I mean Shane was prodded by Snake and Joey to see Emma. They didn't know the background that Shane was basically told to stay away from Emma at all costs. All that I can't blame Shane at all. And then Shane taking the acid and then being found alive, barely getting all his mental functions, and basically he had to recover and walk and talk and do everything normal again. But he's not completely normal. He lives in a psychiatric home, if you will. And basically, his parents did get rid of him and just left him there. Of course, it all comes to head when Emma wants to know about Shane in season 3 of Next Gen when she's about to welcome a new sibling in the world. Spike could have easily told Emma about Shane's condition, and Emma would have nothing to do with him. I don't think Emma would had that much sympathy. But the fact is that yeah, you got that. The Manny and Craig thing. We didn't get to know Craig stuff much. Craig was involved because he was still with Ashley. He was in that love triangle and got Manny pregnant. I think Craig wanted to keep the baby. He didn't tip his hand that he wanted this kid because it brought him a family. I mean, his mom died of a disease. His dad, you know, abused him, probably making Craig a punching bag for why Julia, aka Craig's mom, left the family. And then he gets so mad in road rage he crashes his car and dies. We don't know how. Whether someone hit him or he was trying to avoid the car and then he smashed into it. But yeah, Craig and Joey was there to help Craig, but Craig didn't really view Joey as his dad and all that. Akin to Emma not really caring for Snake as her dad, in a sense, as her father figure. So yeah, he had nothing to go by. He does have a little bit of a relationship with Angie, his stepsister, but still, like Craig didn't tip his hand that he really wanted this so badly, and like it was just horrible. Like he wanted to make things right and all of that. I don't blame Craig whatsoever. He wanted to take care of Manny, mostly because Ashley was trying to desert him. And then, of course, Emma comes in and says that it's Manny's body. She has to make the decision, and Emma has to deal with it too. I think, in a sense, Emma sighs because she has to deal with it too. If Emma had her way, Manny would have the kid. And, Jonah impregnated a girl and then, was not allowed to see his daughter and all that. That was a decent storyline. Dallas, with Vanessa and having Rocky and all that. It was decent and all that, how Dallas admits to things, but he'll take care of his kid. So, I mean, I get the point Lucas is making. So, well, what about Mia's baby daddy thing with Lucas? Like, Lucas was just portrayed as a loser who didn't want to have a kid and basically was made out to be a bad guy. And he finally steps up to the plate after he finds out that Jane was molested by their dad and that he's got eyes on Izzy. And Lucas realizes it and decides to try to cut his dad out of his life. He wanted his dad in his life. I mean, I understand that, but it caused Lucas to be a big douche. So say what you want. I mean, yeah, they wanted JT's point of view, but there's nothing wrong with having an episode with JT's point of view and then Liberty's point of view and making Liberty's point of view the main focus of it. I mean, yeah, the girls had their things, but the guys I don't blame JT at all for what he did. He was trying to make things right, move into an apartment, care for the kid because his dad ran out on him and his mom, and basically his grandmother has to take care of both of them. JT tries to get his grandma's help but can't. And then Liberty basically says, your grandmother's a lamb compared to my parents if they find out. Like Liberty, they're not stupid. They'll find out. Liberty was just hiding the kid and all that. Liberty was made to be the bad guy in this thing. I mean, Liberty should have at least came clean to her parents and all that. They probably would have found childcare or basically did the adoption plan sooner. I mean, and help Liberty give birth to the baby and then give it to the adoptive parents and all that. I mean, I understand they don't want Liberty to be a teen mom and basically not be academically strong and all that. But what's there to say that Liberty doesn't continue her academic go getter status after giving birth to the kid? Like, Liberty's parents are pressuring their kids to do well and all that. Most parents do that. That's fair. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, they just showed little warmth towards Liberty. Liberty's struggling probably with postpartum, probably with something else, with depression in general, and her parents just don't give a fuck. Sorry, but that's the way I feel. To me, it's always going to be the fact that, you know, they just didn't want to care about their daughter, which to me, like, crosses the line in effect. I don't think Liberty's parents are the worst in Degrassi history. I mean, Becky's parents are terrible. Them trying to protect Luke over Becky's word. And Luke told Becky what happened. If Luke kept his mouth shut, who knows what Becky would have done. But yeah, Luke told Becky. And basically, she said that on the stand, and they still believe Luke and all that. They say he's the golden child. Of course, I wouldn't put it past the Bakers to have some kind of thing with the dad. Maybe he's not a minister anymore. Maybe he lost it. Maybe they just basically said, screw you. And they iced Becky. They can't like kick Becky out because Becky's underage. And also, they're probably thinking that Becky's going to go to the 40s. Becky should have, because the parents probably would have been under probation and under some kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is that Liberty's parents were cold towards her problems. And that makes sense because, like, the dad says, once Liberty finds out that the kid's going to Seattle, you have nothing no, to say about that. You signed the deal. They can do whatever they want with the child. Fair, but you could just say, well, that's just how it goes. You could be less cold about it and just try to get Liberty to understand things. But no, you have to be a dickwad. And then Liberty has the postpartum. She doesn't do well in her exam, which was unusual for Liberty. But instead of Libby's parents saying, well, what's going on? Are you okay? And all that, they just basically chew her out saying, this is for 30% of your grade. What are you doing? It's like I don't have a daughter anymore. I think Libby tries to explain her actions, but her father and her mother, for that matter, don't want to hear about it. They're just basically saying that, you know, they don't want that to happen. And I feel like, in a way, that maybe the mother may have had postpartum but wants to hide it and all that. Liberty's known for hiding things and all that. Emma too, but that's the point. But the fact of the matter is that Liberty deserved better in her pregnancy storyline. And that's a simple fact. I mean, Derek was a douchebag, but Derek wasn't as douchey as he was in later seasons when he did the memory chest and he realized the story about how he was adopted and all that. That's pretty impressive that Derek would do such a thing. And, it was one of the nicest things Derek ever did on the show. In contrast to abusing Jane in season 8. Like, fuck. Spinner should have had more input and beat the shit out of Derek. That would have been funny. But yeah, Liberty was failed by the writers, but she was failed by her own parents, and that just sucked. And, watching JT bond with Mia and Isabella, like, I get it. She was upset. She was probably more upset at herself that she pushed JT away. I think she knew she pushed JT away and practically was just upset that she screwed everything up. And, Mia felt a little entitled after JT died, saying, I get his stuff. I was with him. You're a cold, calculating robot. Like, Mia was just being a prick. Prick, 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 prick. So that's what happened. But yeah, Liberty had every right to get jealous and all that. I mean, it made her look bad, but the fact is that Liberty had lost a child, to adoption. Like, what woman wouldn't feel bad about losing their child to adoption in such a way? But that's just how I stand, and that's how the Degrassi Reddit stands on that. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.